Hello everyone, welcome to my tarot channel. Today we are going to discuss August 2024 predictions. So for that we have three piles. Number 1 is this one. Second is this. And third is this. Select your pile on the basis of your intuition. The pile that you think is you are drawn to a particular pile, you can select that particular pile, and we'll be moving forward with the reading of that particular pile. So select the pile so that we can discuss further. I hope you have made your choice. So first we are going to start with this pile. We'll include this card in the pile only. Here the cards that I am pulling out are on the basis of my intuition, and the number of cards are also decided by my intuition only. Okay. Okay, so let us start with this reading. So for this reading, I can predict that in 2024 August, you'll be getting whatever that you have wished for. Okay, you have the potentials, you have the skills, but there is a story uh, that is being seen by this card, that I can see with this card, with this these piles. First of all, I can see a lot of struggle. You can be in a job right now where there is a lot of competition. Have you heard about those firms like HR firms in which they hire all the HRs and they give a single task to all the people who are working with a target? So it may be the case that you are working on target basis and you are facing a lot of competition in your job, or either it is a case that you are facing a lot of criticism in your own family members, like your family members are criticizing you for all the decisions that you have taken due to immaturity, due to this card where you couldn't see what is coming in the future, and you were very optimistic about certain things. Like this happens whenever we get a job proposal, we are very optimistic about it. We think that we are younger generation, we know everything. I have chosen my career and I'll make people I'll prove people wrong. Your near and dear ones have also motivated you and given you advice. So here the thing is, you have to listen to what your parents, your siblings, your close family is suggesting to you, because judgment is being passed. um, Things are not going in your favor right now. There may also be a heartbreak, and there are always people around you who trust you. There are always people who trust you, who support you. You have to just listen to them. Sometimes we are not seeing the future, we are not seeing uncertain events, or either we are ignoring them, upcoming uncertain events, but the people who are around us can sense it. So there may be chance that you are facing struggles with your current time, and as we grow up, we do jobs, or our relationships become very complicated. We start reminding ourselves of the past. We start reminding ourselves, like, things were very good when we were child. We don't have to face a lot of struggles. We don't have to see the actual faces of the people around us. So it might happen that you think of past, how good things were when I was small. Everything was so good. Everything was, I was not having any kind of responsibility. But still, if you will go ahead, if you will move as a chariot, if you have all the strength, and I think you are ready to face all the difficulties in your life in this month. You will be um, looking forward to facing everything that is coming in your way. You will not give up. You will be very brave and very courageous, and you will act as a warrior. um, you will be able to accomplish, you will be able to um, all the struggles or the hurdles that you are facing. You will be able to get rid of those hurdles due to your own efforts. Okay, due to your own hard work. Here you will trust yourself and you will move forward. But the small decisions that you are taking right now, maybe in terms of your career, your job change, or maybe in terms of your relationship, you should take advice from your parents, from your family, from the people whom you trust. Okay, so it may be the case that you land into a job and there is a lot of struggle in that. You are not able to make money from it, because of the targets, because of or you are making money from it, but still you are tensed and depressed because of the targets, because of the tension that you are facing, due to competition in that particular job. There can be also office politics going on in your office. If you get any better opportunities, take advice from your near and dear ones before changing your job in this month. I can see that maybe you will be getting an opportunity, but you have to take advice from your parents, from the people whom you trust, because they'll be the people who will give you the right, will show you the right path, and they'll give you the right guidance. Okay, and if everything goes out well, if you will listen to them, you will find people who will trust you, who will motivate you. You will create new connections with the people around you, and it can be either your friends or your colleagues. You'll meet new people in this month, but the only thing is, and you will be ready for a change. You'll be ready to again prove yourself in either your current job or in your new job. But the only thing is that you have to take advice from your near and dear ones before making any decision. Maybe you take that decision and then you realize that I was okay with the previous situation. It can be your job, it can be your relationship. Okay, it can be anything. Okay, so because if you are not listen to your near and dear ones, then things might be against your favor. Things will not go in your favor. So it is the right time to trust the people around you. I know it is hard sometimes, to not like it is like we are not trusting our own inner voice, but taking decision from outside gives us a third eye perspective. A person who is uh, not in our condition can sometimes gives us the insights that we are missing out. Okay, so that is what I'm seeing in your reading. There can be a heartbreak, there can be someone gossiping about you, or the office politics is there, or the politics in your relationships can be there, because something is troubling you. You are struggling, you are fighting either in your career. I can sense it is a career, it is your job, it is somewhere you are working right now. So before thinking about, don't take impulsive decisions right now. Just consult someone around you. Okay, someone you trust. When you are going to consult those person, they are going to give you the right judgment, and trust on that judgment and move forward with it. You are protected by God. you have all the resources, you have everything, you have all the potential. Okay, the only thing is that you have to ask from someone who is around you, whom you trust, someone who is older than you, for the judgment before moving forward. Okay, so in this month you will be getting an opportunity, you have to take a decision. You will be provided with opportunities, maybe one or two, but you have to take decisions that am I am I supposed to switch my job, or if I am switching my job, I have to decide from job A, job B, job C, which job I have to take. And or if I don't want to switch, then I have to talk to my seniors to either give me increment or discuss with them the problems that I am facing. Okay, so these are the two circumstances that you might face in this month, and there will be time for making a decision, either for staying in the job in which you are or changing that job. But before changing, before making any decision, take advice from your near and dear ones. Talk to your mother, father, or sibling whom you trust blindly, and just follow that path. You will be getting success in that. Okay, and just also try to figure out what you really want. If you think you have a potential, try to just talk to people and try to find out a way to get rid of the problems that you are facing, and you will yourself find a solution. Listen to everyone, but think and calculate all the things. Whenever we have to make a judgment, just try to think what worst can happen, the worst situation that arise. Will you be able to manage that situation? If you will be unemployed, will you be able to manage that situation? Are you in a state to manage that situation or not? Okay, and that will give you the answers. Rest you can take judgment from your near and dear ones, a third eye perspective. Either try to even consider you as your friend. If you don't have anyone to talk to, give yourself the advice that you will give a friend who must be facing a similar kind of situation, and you'll get the answer yourself. Okay, you yourself know everything, but the only thing is, see the problem situation with a different perspective before making the judgment, before taking any decision. Okay, so that was your reading, and I hope you enjoyed this reading. Let's move to the second pile. Okay. Okay. So, as per this pile, I can see that in August 2024, you'll be getting everything that you have ever wished for. Okay, it can be in terms of relationships, it can be in terms of money. Okay, you have brilliant ideas. Think about, if you are thinking about starting your own company, and if you were trying to figure out the funds and the finance, maybe this is the best possible time you can start your own business. You can start working on your own ideas, and it will give you a lot of success. Okay, and I can see that you will be working, you'll be working, you are trustworthy, you are faithful, you can even get a marriage proposal. Okay, but you have to decide if you have to go forward with it or not, because you have to put a lot of efforts in that as well, and you are too much busy in your career right now. So see if you are able to make efforts or not, if you have time for making efforts for a relationship. Sometimes people think that first we have to get settled in our career and then we'll move forward with a relationship. So if you have that mentality, then don't just get into that. You can be friends with that person, you can get to know that person, but don't waste the second person's time, whether um, he or she is wants to have a relationship and you don't want to have it. Then don't then tell them this on their face, so that they are also clear with their intentions. Okay, if they are ready to wait for you, if they are ready to wait for you so that you can become successful, you can achieve your financial dreams, then it is fine. Otherwise, if they are ready to look for someone else, then let them go. You'll be finding someone who is your true match at the time when you will be completely settled in your career. So focus on your career, and if you have a positive impression about someone who is offering you a marriage proposal, you can go ahead with that. But first of all, try to get settled in the career that you have, because you have a lot of potential. If you will be putting all your energy and efforts into your career first, then you can go ahead in your life. If you can manage the relationship and the career side by side, it is also nice. You have to create that work life balance for yourself. Okay, you have to take out time for everything. You have a very busy life, I can see it. You have a lot of money, you have a lot of potential, you have a potential of earning money. Okay, and you are very stable. In this month you can even do investments of your money out of your savings. It can be in either in bank accounts or it can be in shares. You are trying to um, put your finance to the best of its use. Either you can invest that, and there is a lot of potential in that also. Okay, I can see that you can come out of a situation that is dangerous. So again, I am saying, don't take any decision impulsively. Okay, think before taking the, there is a card of transformation. It can either be a decision, or you can switch, you can start even learning a new skill, or you can add on to your skills. You can even try to get a switch from the career that you are on, or you can learn more skills to get a better position. You'll upgrade your skills to get a better position in your career in this month, and that will turn out to, or maybe you are working for long to learn more skills in order to get placed at higher positions in your current job. And it is possible, it is possible in this month that you are going to clear certain interviews that you are giving, and you'll be getting success. Either you'll get an increment or a promotion, because you have been working on your skills, and you are able to convince the person who is taking your interview that yes, you have developed certain skills that help you to increase your chances to get the increment or promotion or job change. It can be job change as well. And here, if you want to open your own business, it is the right time to start taking steps. Okay, business can be a side business also, like, yeah, like on YouTube, or online selling of the products on the websites. It can be also possible. Okay, you are looking for a side business like freelancing or something, to utilize the new skill set that you have learned. So you can go ahead in that, because there is a lot of money. There are high chances that you are going to develop a new source of income in this month. Okay, so this is it for your reading. I hope you enjoyed it. Now let us move with the next pile. Okay, so okay, so in this reading, I can see that you can, in this month, there are high chances that you can meet the love of your life, your soulmate. It may be possible that you are meeting your soulmate. It is possible that you are meeting your soulmate in unexpectedly. I can't even think of a place where you can meet your soulmate, and it's strange because you were not looking for it. Okay, and at first you may not be, you may not realize that this is your soulmate, that you have found finally the person that you will marry. Okay, there are high chances that you can marry this person because there is a past life connection, and you'll be able to connect with that person. So it can be unexpected meeting. Like for example, I am seeing that maybe for um, in business, in your job, you are meeting your one of your client, and that client instantly becomes your friend, and then after that you are staying in touch with that particular client, and he turns out to be your soulmate. Later on you realize that yes, this is the person I like and I should marry that person. You will ask that person out, and it will be the case that he or she also will have the same feelings, and everything will go well. Okay, so in this month you are going to meet that person. Rest, it will depend upon you if you are going, if you want to go ahead with that relationship or not. And I can see that you are making lot of plans in your head, but those plans are not implemented. It can be in terms of your career. Okay, you are trying to learn more skills. You are thinking that I should do multiple businesses or multiple jobs, like freelancing and a full-time job together, but it may not be possible for you right now. Things are not going in your favor in terms of career. So I'll suggest you to just focus on one career right now. You can develop your skills, but don't overburden yourself. If you are going to do 10 things together, then there are high chances that you will not be able to manage even one of them properly. But if you are doing one thing at a time, then there will be high chances that you are going to get success in that. Okay, you are trying hard to balance things out. You are trying hard to manage the careers that you are pursuing. Multitasking is not a cup of tea for everyone. So that is why I want you to focus on in one direction. Okay, and you'll be meeting the person who will be your lover. This may be the case that that person will be interested to go into a partnership with you. He or she might want to run a company or a business, and he or she will think that you are a person with whom he can start that particular company. Okay, this might also be the case. So you have to think before taking the decision, because you would want to do something of your own, but this person will come out and he or she will just entirely change your perspective. So you will be facing difficulties in deciding whether or not to go ahead with the proposal he or she is giving to you. Either it can be a side business or it can be a full-time business. Okay, and you will make a decision. It is high chances that you can start a part-time business with that person, and side by side you are continuing your job, and you are facing difficulties in your current job or in your life because of managing those two things together. Okay, right now in August you will be required to make this decision. you'll get this offer and you'll be required to make this decision. So I want you to tell you with this card, you have all the skills, you can manage all the situations in your life, you are highly responsible, you are highly skilled. The people whom you work also look up to you, those who work under you, and those who are your superiors always praise you for the kind of work that you are doing in your company or in your business, whatever. The people who are in connection to you in terms of your career are always praising you because of the efforts that you put into the thing that you take up. Okay, so it will depend upon you, you will rise in whatever case. If you are starting your own business, if you are starting business with your lover, you will be rising. Okay, you will be rising in all the things that you will be pursuing, but the only thing is you have to change the way that you are looking the situations. You might take a lot of stress, you might over calculate things, you may face problems in deciding what to do, what not to do. You may try to balance everything. If you are balancing two things together, then be very it might create obstacles and troubles for you, for your mental health. So you can enter into an activity where you can focus on your mental health and you can take a break. Try to take a break. Okay, try to take a break. Even before making a judgment, try to take a break from everything and think, will you be able to manage two things together? If not, take up the one thing that you trust the most. Think about the worst can happen. Will you be able to handle the worst if you are in a particular situation? And then make the judgment. Okay, this is the best thing that we can do when we are unable to decide what to do, what not to do. Okay, if you are doing things in part time, try to uh, do them try to take out time. Like if you are working from Monday to Friday, devote your Sunday in that part-time uh, business, in setting that part-time business and starting that part, because instantly you are not going to start earning money. You have to set up, you have to work, and let the other person take the responsibilities, because he or she also have to understand that you have a job. So you have to do that also, and take out time in between. Try to take out time, try to take out 1 hour, 2 hour to get involved in that, but don't get too much involved in that. Take your meals on time, take care of yourself, because health is more important than your money, than having multiple sources of income. And any source of income takes time to generate the revenue, and it requires a lot of efforts. Focus on the main job that you have. Rest, you take out time to manage those things. You can even have a schedule, a proper timetable, which you can follow, in which your health is also not compromised. Okay, so this was your reading. I hope you enjoyed your reading. Like, share and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for watching.